a biblical reference. Let's look at the law. In the eyes of the law in each state, say for instance, you're married, you get a divorce, the wife gets half,
half.
right? It's 50%. There's always definitions and how we look at marriage, and your woman, it's seen as 50-50. It supposedly is 50-50, but we all grew up from the South. And again, I'm going to fall back on that. You've heard, people talk, hey man, you're a woman this, you're a woman that. You are supposed to protect her in all ways, not just from the financial standpoint. We have a lot of women who are strong, resilient, intelligent, and they're worthy. However, do we still have a responsibility to protect them? And I really want to get that word defined before I say anything else, because I'm going to go off. I have a lot of things to say, but I want to make sure I reserve for, to make sure it makes sense.
Yeah, and you're talking about the defining what that protection is.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Gregory, you talked about it. One word you said: financially, emotionally. The physical is the easy thing. Guy with this brute strength, they want to come up and just beat up anything that don't fit into what we consider good order for our household. But there's more to it. So, do you want to spend a moment and let's talk about the different ways or how protection should actually look? Either. Greg, you muted. Yeah.
My bad. My bad. It's funny. We have no problem with fighting, but we do have struggle with listening as men. If someone bumps into our wife at the mall or out, out and about with our lady, someone says something crazy to her, we got no problems with fighting, but we have a problem with being attentive to her needs. And in a lot of ways that sounds, backwards to me. I think that what our society has changed so much that women need, how should I put this? Women don't need as much protecting as we think, but they want to know that we're ready to protect them. Because women can make their own money so they can be financially safe. Women can protect themselves physically. I mean, there are women out there, who own firearms, who have mace, who have taken self-defense. So they have all of these capabilities now to protect themselves, but they are looking for a man that says, if I need you to step up, when I'm unable to protect myself, I want to know that you're ready to protect me. If that means a hug, if that means listening to me, if that means a foot rub, if that means looking over our 401k, to protect her always in all ways is what women are looking for.
So, but doesn't protection mean like there's some responsibility and accountability there? So I'm asking you both, how do you establish that responsibility to protect and accountability that comes with it if she can do what she want, when she want, how she want? Like how? Because I think it could be confusing or challenging, maybe is the better word to say.
I think that just listening to you, gentlemen, I think that protection is going to be different in every household with every relationship. I think what some women need, some other women don't need. It depends on how the mixture in the relationship between the man and the woman. So the protection may look different for Sheila than it would for Melissa or Michelle or Shaquita.
Yeah.
I think that needs to be defined though, and then in the sit down talk, what do they need? If you know your woman, you know your wife, you know your fiance, your girlfriend, then those needs will come to the surface. If you're listening to her, there's a difference between listening to someone and hearing someone. So if you're actually listening to what they say, those things will usually come out. And if you spend time with a person, you see where they need protection, where the weaknesses are. And that's just not on the male part as well. The female needs to do that to the male as well. I know I need protection. So many things I don't see. Women have this intuition, man. They think much faster. I'm sorry, I don't mean to put us all out there, but we have physical strength. Well, they make up for that here. And I think that they can hear and see things sometimes faster than we do. And they can levy that as protection for us as well. So if we're both trying to protect each other, that sounds beautiful to me. And I think that is how God meant it to be. Adam was lonely, Eve was created, and there you go.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
rest is yeah.
I think you're absolutely right, Dr. Marlon. I think it does vary from relationship to relationship. Every person's needs are different, and it's important to have those conversations to go, how can I protect you? In what space and what area of your life do you need me to show up stronger
Yeah.
for you? And I do agree with you. I think women are the smarter species. They are quicker than we are. And that goes with science too. There was a study about 7 years ago that I read that women are far more capable of multitasking better than
Right.
men.
That's a
Uh,
brain thing, right?
yeah, yeah, they execute far better when doing multiple things at the same time.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That
I
hurt
think
my heart.
so.
I know what study you're talking about, and that hurt me. That hurt my heart. But it's true. It is what it is.
it is. It's facts. It's facts. And I think one area that, if I could just, kind of switch gears a little bit, that we don't protect our women in is in the media. And when you go on social media and you're still watching, hip hop videos, and you're watching, forget that, just even nighttime television, it just seems like we just portray our women in this
Yeah.
sexual nature,
Amen. Yeah.
and that's not protecting them, because our daughters are watching it and they think, oh, that is my pathway to notoriety. That's how I get a man. That's how I get successful. If I
Yeah,
don't show my body, then, or if I don't look like those ladies look, then I'm somehow
yeah,
inferior, and I'm a less desirable woman. And I think we do a really, really poor job at showcasing what real beauty is in a woman. And it's not just her body.
that's
Exactly.
good.
Yeah.
That's
And
good.
that protection can show up from, every man can do that. That sounds like a father thing. He takes his baby girl and shows her. Like I take my daughter, we got on a date. We'll go out and
Yeah,
I let her see when I get, flowers for Valentine's Day. I remember a couple years ago, I bought my wife some flowers for Valentine's Day, and my daughter looked at me like I was crazy. Where are mine? Her expectation. Oh, I'm sorry. I had to go get her some flowers and show her. I open the door for her when she gets in the car, and show her this is how a man is supposed to treat you. This is that part of the protection thing, and she's expectant at that point. Well, when she gets old enough to get a boyfriend, probably around 40.
yeah,
What she's gonna Yeah, what she's gonna do is she's gonna see that, okay, my daddy protected me, my father protected me, and you're not doing that. Something's up here, and they can have those conversations. So they need to be,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah,
That's a
yeah.
good job. Good job. We got to set the standard, right? We got to raise the bar.
yeah,
And the bar isn't you wearing a thong on the BET Awards. The
yes,
thong isn't the standard. Got the thong on my head. The standard isn't you twerking. The standard is how your intelligence. Your standard is your kindness. Your standard is your genuineness, your authenticity. Are
yeah,
you purpose driven? That
yes,
is where your real beauty is, because
right there.
we every woman has the same body parts, and so what we really we real value is what makes you stand out is who you are behind those body parts.
Yeah, net conservative. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
hey, out in the audience, we see the comments coming in, and we're about to get to some of them. This name of the show is Real Men Talk, hosted by the Floor is Yours podcast, where we want to make sure we give the floor to the audience. So keep them coming. And Tamika, if you don't mind, we're going to go to some of these comments up here. Starting with Miss Chantrell Bruce. Uh, Her comment says, protect or lead with a question mark. She said, I don't need him to protect me from the world. I need him to guide me in my decision making. Allow me to make those decisions at work, at the school, etc. Speak up when I mess up or when you see me about to. And that goes in line with Dr. Marlon said earlier, but it looks different for anybody. Someone might see her comment and take issue with it, but she's detailing exactly what she's needing. And I think, and correct me if y'all don't agree with me, you can err if you try to force your mindset or your ways of protecting on her, and that's not necessarily what she's needing or asking for.
right. That's good.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
good.
Yeah, and I think that leadership is protection, and protection is leadership. I think they're synonyms. I think that if done correctly and lovingly, me giving you advice is protecting you. Me saying, hey, babe, I don't want you to go out here looking crazy, sounding crazy, and looking crazy. I'm going to tell you the real. Before you leave the house, here's some honest truth from love, from my heart, because I want you to be your best. And so
yeah,
sometimes, yeah, guidance is protection.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So Mia Davis, she says, I can get a ladder. Uh I can get a ladder just like he can, but don't just sit there and watch me struggle if you see me need help with the hand. So I get it. So but you know that I'll be honest, you know, in my less than mature days, I would see you with that ladder and like, why didn't you ask me in the first place? So I'm gonna let you struggle with it until you build up the courage or you know, get rid of that ego and ask me. So you know, that was in my less than desirable self. But what do y'all think about that comment right there?
You know, and I think that that's a great question, sister. Thank you for that question. But I think we need to, the reason why we're having this conversation, we need to also start dealing away with the stereotypes. A man is supposed to have a hammer. A man is supposed to have a little lunchbox with a little cheese sandwich in it, going off to work and bring it home. No, this is 2024. If you can get up on that ladder and paint, that's great. He's supposed to, absolutely. If I see my woman up there, I'm going to absolutely help. But my wife painted the whole house by herself. She wanted to. She didn't want me to touch anything because I am horrible at that. That's not my God-given gift. So I think that get rid of the stereotypes. Jump in there and do what needs to be done for you and your family. And don't try to paint the man as man is supposed to do all these things. What you do is remember that 50-50 thing. You do what Gregory said earlier. What are your strengths? If you paint better than him, then you paint. If he's in some homes, a man is the cook. He cooks the dinners every day. Wait a minute, isn't that the woman's job? No. Wherever your strengths are to build you and your family, that's what you need to be doing.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy is I've seen people tear their relationship up trying to hold on to those traditional gender roles. You got the woman working just as hard, but she coming in now, she's supposed to be the homemaker, the housekeeper, and tend to the kids.
Right.
She's literally wearing herself out, building up resentment towards that man for years and years of just, you know, just extending herself beyond what's reasonable. So that's a good point. Here's another one from Tamika. She said, right. It's just as important to show our daughters how to be treated when they begin dating at 40. So I don't know if she's only agreeing with the 40 or what, but I let one of you, Marlon, you want to address that one?
I'm gonna let Gregory grab this one because I can see his mind turning. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with Tamika 100%, 1,000%. I have two daughters myself, and I think that I am responsible. I was the first man, and that gave me the responsibility for setting the standard of how men should treat them, right? And so we got to set the bar high, so no dusty little dude can come in and impress them just by saying some cute words to them. You know, we got to show them, and
these days.
and you know, and not just in words, but in deeds also. You know, how do we speak to them when they get a bad grade? You know, when they are disobedient, how do we still show respect even when we have to discipline them? You know, how do we guide them in a way that shows I'm here to support you, and let them know that a man who loves you is always got your back and always there to support you. You know, I used to think that being a parent meant God gave you this a lump of marble and you have to chisel out, you know, the image that you want. But now that I'm a little bit older, I've learned that children are a seed. God has already put inside that seed what he wants it to be. My responsibility as a parent is to create the environment where what's in that seed can grow and blossom.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
just a little bit on that as well. Um, the role of the man there, especially with daughters. If dad's not in the picture, does she have an uncle? Is there a man that's a trusted male that can get in that baby's life and show this is what a man does? This is how you should be treated. Because as a child, they can be influenced greatly. They're learning, searching for things, especially little girls. I refuse to leave my daughter anywhere. I'm always with. I mean, I'm in her phone, everything. I'm checking her, not overwhelming, but I want to make sure she's safe.
Yeah.
I'm protecting her. So
Yeah.
where's Uncle Cleophas at? Where's somebody needs to, yeah.
I also believe the best thing you can do for your children is to love their mother. And so how you show up and how you treat the waitress, how you treat the flight attendant, how you treat their mother and their aunts and their cousins also is Very, very important.
Yeah, and we're gonna get to a lot of just hit a couple more of these comments before we go to the commercial break. Mill said, oh, Chantrell, she says protection seems to be synonymous with control at times. We said that earlier. So when we're out trying to protect, we want to make sure we're not acting like we're these dictators of our home. But she said protection seems to be synonymous with control at times. You don't have to work that hard at it. It's more, what do you need from me than I don't want you to do that. And you're right. Sometimes it's the delivery. But again, I'm gonna go back to what Dr. Marlon said. Uh, we gotta get with each person and see like specifically what are they needing and kind of shape your leadership. And I'll take it back to our military days. When you're leading troops, Marines, you have any at any moment a number. For me, it's been 20, 30 troops under me, and I'm having to learn what motivates each one of them. If one, I could kind of be a little tough and stern. Other ones maybe not so much. Find out if one has issues with their family or their finances. So you have to get in with whoever your relationship. There's no blueprint necessarily, but I do think what you said, Dr. Marlon, that you have to figure out what that person is needing.
Right. That's good. That's good.
So, Mia said, and being careful how you talk to your kids. Man, that's a good one. Not putting them down and calling them names. That's just wild. Lift them up, look different than the world. Model to your kids how they should be treated.
Can I just add a little bit on that? That's a really good statement. We also we do want to model to them. We also, I would highly recommend we don't sugarcoat, depending on their age and their levels of understanding. Don't sugarcoat, because the world it can be a really bad, dirty place. We want to make sure we give our kids that training and don't sugarcoat it too much, because once they go to school, they don't need to look at the world through rose-colored lenses. They need a dose of reality. I know the Bible says, spare the rod, spoil the child. I mean, we grew up in the South. I mean, a little bit of what the child needs is expected, but not all sugar. It's got a little bitterness in there as well.
That's good. That's good. Got another one here from Mia. She said, yes, I agree. The stereotypes. That's where I was going, Dr. Marlon. Build on each other's strengths. So, yeah. Then one more from Tamika down here. She says, yes, setting the standard. I used to tell my husband that I have daddy issues because my daddy made it difficult for the guys. He taught me to be self-sufficient, not relying on a guy for anything. And that could be a challenge when you're coming into a woman that was taught, right is what we've been taught, and that's our experience. So to come in, if you this hard charging guy, that's trying to lead your family, it could come off the wrong way, is what Chantrell said earlier. I remember my ex-wife, she used to tell me, I'm not one of your soldiers. Like, what are you talking about? I'm protecting you, trying to make sure you're good. But yeah, she had to remind me that a couple times. So let's go to commercial. And after this commercial, we're going to come back and continue the discussion.
Unapologetic. Me also, it was seeing myself the way God sees me. That was the reason why I was claiming introvert. So I didn't see myself. I was scared.
Yeah.
I was scared to fail. It took me a while, but when I finally did, it just soared.
Yeah.
And we're back.
The moment when you feel as though you no longer need to hide is the moment when you can step forward and live in your truth.
Yeah.
Unapologetic living.
So yeah, just a couple things we got going on with Real Men Talking, even with Mogul Global. So that unapologetic living, I think is perfect for the topic of the show. You see the women out here having the conversations. They're trying to grow and find their footing in society. And what Dr. Marlon and I talked about earlier on the phone was again, our part of protecting is also encouraging and spurring them on to greatness as well. So let's make sure that we're supporting and not hindering their growth, because you know, what was that old saying? We're only strong as the weakest link. If you got your mates in at home, just being a homemaker, and this world is evolving, they're gonna become irrelevant, or expendable, if you will. So let's make sure that we're doing what we can to encourage and push each other. What do y'all think so far? Great conversation.
Excellent conversation.
Yeah. Oh,
Excellent. I mean,
definitely.
and I think that there's a lot of branches to this conversation. We talk just, not just at home, but then socially and politically as well. When we look at, Sonya Macy, who just, got killed, murdered by a police officer. I think, there should be more outrage by Black men in
Yeah.
this nation. When I see coverage of it, or as I go through my social media feed, I see predominantly as Black women highlighting that this woman was murdered by police officers. I'm like, well, where are the men? Why aren't men just as outraged that we lost one of our own here and on our watch? She was ours to protect. That was our sister that we lost. And why aren't we as up in arms as women are? I mean, it was such an unfortunate situation. When I regret that I saw the footage, because it was just absolutely heartbreaking to me to watch a police officer murder this innocent woman. And I think that in her particular case, I wonder, was there a man that she could have called, to say, hey, listen, so I think someone's breaking in my house. Her brother, her friend, or her neighbor could have said, well, still call the police, but I'm on my way. Why didn't she have a man that she could call to say, come help me? Where were the men in her life that were able to step up and say, I got you. I'll be right over. You call 911 and I'm on the way.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more to this conversation to
Yeah.
be had.
And even as a precursor to that, I mean, where's the man? I mean, men are usually like me. I'm from Texas. I love hunting. I love weapons. I love all that stuff. That's why I spent 26 years in the Marines.
Yeah.
But I make sure that the women in my family know how to shoot. They know how to engage with weapons. But before I got there, there was none of that. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying every man needs to show his woman how to use a weapon. But just like Brother Greg was saying, I mean, that's usually a man thing. You got your Sonya Massey, you got Breonna Taylor, you got India Kager. The list goes on and on. Where were the men? Where were they?
Yeah. I think a part of that too is how we become as a society. And Gregory, you and I talked about that earlier. There's such a huge divide, between men and women, and trusting and depending. And Tamika talked about her dad taught her to be independent. And it would take a patient man to get in a relationship as such, and work to tear down that barrier, the walls, where he can come in and do what he needs. It's one of those things like you don't need the protection until you need it. So
Mhm.
yeah, to your point, where are the men? I think a lot of that deals directly with shared responsibility. There's us, Black men inside our community. I talked about the political leaders. You hear some of the rhetoric that's coming from our nation's leaders, and it's stuff that you never would have imagined would be not just spoken, but even accepted and received as okay, and even encouraged. So I think that's a lot of it. And then you talk again about the shared responsibility for itself, the music we listen to. I had to check myself. I remember when my daughter started, riding with me when she was younger, and she started singing some of the lyrics to the songs I was listening to, and I'm just like, okay, so there's that piece. And I think just over time, all those things just kind of chip away at what's acceptable, what's normal, and we become numb. So to answer your question, Gregory, I think that it's been happening so much. There is some outrage, but sometimes it stops at a message on the keyboard, on Facebook, and responding to it, and then it goes away. And then here comes the elections, and we vote, and then we go back to our silos, and it's just business as usual. So these kind of conversations on this platform are important, but the shared responsibility, our community leaders, let's be honest. the 45. You know what I'm saying? Not saying his name intentionally. Trying not to be too political, but he's wanting to take away. He wants to give them the police immunity, and I'm just like, what and why? Like, why would that be a thing? And just see slowly what's appropriate and what we've known to be good order and discipline is just eroding away. And it's one thing to hear it from someone that you grew up with or next door on the music, but when you're hearing it from the people that's occupying the highest seats in our nation, I think that's a little bit different there.
Yeah, yeah. And I think in an effort to provide security and consistency in our life, a lot of men have become cowards to know what is worthy of a fight, to know what is worthy of putting, maybe my job is going to be on jeopardy if I take this stance, but this is a stance I need to take. But we become so cautious because it took us years to get to this particular office, and I don't want to lose it by posting this post on Facebook about Black Lives Matter, about the death of an innocent Black person, or about this or the other. And I think that we become overly cautious with protecting our own, cushy lifestyle. That we got in this mindset of that's somebody else's business, that's somebody else's fight. I want to protect mine, so I'll let the other people handle that.
Would you agree with that, Dr. Marlon? That we kind of gotten cushy or soft or cowardly in some sense?
I do, but I do agree with that, but I also want to promote the fact that there are a lot of us, a lot of brothers out there who just aren't heard yet. They don't do social media. They don't do. We have to. Those voices are the ones that need to be amplified, because usually when Gregory used the word coward, and he is spot on, right on target. It is cowardly not to engage when you really need to. But then again, you're protecting. I don't want to lose my job. I don't want to. But there are people who will do that. Where are those groups at? Where are those brothers at? Because the other side. I don't want to say any names either, but they have a way to silence the ones to the strength of certain groups. They're the ones who are targeted. Silence them, keep them quiet, keep them separated from the ones that we can control. And so that's what we hear from the groups we're talking about, the ones who can be controlled, but there are other groups that usually cannot, and those are the ones who need to be heard.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's so unfair that it's so blatant to disrespect women nowadays and their accomplishment. I remember watching Fox News, and there was a commentator. There was a commentator who referred to Kamala Harris as a DEI appointee, despite her impressive background, despite the work that she's done, despite her long resume. He referred to her as like an affirmative action hire. Like she's our token. And so it just repulses me how easily this vitriol just pours out of the mouths of some people.
So what do you do? Like, what can us, just three guys that got our own, careers and passions, and what could we do?
Yeah. Well, number one, we need to talk up Black women more. We have to create a reputation that, hey, when you're around Gerard, when you're around Dr. Marlon, he don't take that. Like, you're not going to say a sexist joke. You're not going to be disrespectful around. Make it awkward. Like, when you hear someone say something negative about women, let your reputation be, you're the dude in the room that says, we don't do that here. We don't make those kind of jokes. We don't make those kind of comments here. She needs to be respected as a human being. She's our colleague. She's our mother. She's our sister. And I don't care if she lives in the projects and smoking crack and selling her body, she still is a child of God, and she still is loved by God. So she still deserves to be respected like anybody else on this planet. Whether or not you're the president or a prostitute, you still deserve respect because God's hand is on your life.
I think that that's a really good statement. We already have it in us, especially Black men. And the reason why I say that is because let me give you just a little quick example. No matter how big we get, especially from Texas. Now, your mother may be 5'2", 5'3", You might be 35 years old, and she raises her hand to you. What are you going to do as a big man? You're going to cringe up just like you did when you were 5. Mama, don't hit me.
Yeah.
That's a respect that she's taught you when you were coming up. And that's the same way that, maybe not exactly the same, but we should treat our women. So with that in mind, just like Gregory said, when we're in a room, we protect women by defending them to other people. Exactly. Even if they're not in the room, it's especially great if you can do it in front of them, especially people, I'm not going to, people who would come against them, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
While they're there, here comes the defender right there on the spot. You don't have to be mean to anybody, but you speak up, you speak facts, and you defend that woman, defend her right there on the spot where everybody can see. And then the violators, oh God, okay, well, baby, man, people live, okay, maybe we shouldn't. Exactly. We stand together.
That's good. That's good. Another way too is to at our places of employment, that's where a lot of accountability happens.
Exactly.
In the public, their jobs is sometime online. So promoting, I know at my job, we promote BRGs, business resource groups, where we promote our differences and we celebrate our differences.
Right.
And so there's strong HR departments where they're teaching and training diversity. So, this whole attack on DEI, it's intentional and it's with a purpose. It's not just some, they're thinking it's some outdated program that's no longer needed. The attack is for a reason. And you see it play out every day when they are literally attacking people for, things, again, that we wouldn't even heard of before, but they're so bold with it. And now when you turn down the checks and balance systems, it just emboldens these people to even go and push further. So,
yeah, absolutely. And I think that is how we change the world. We change the world by influencing the person that's next to us. We don't need a large platform. We don't need 1 million followers. If we just are able to speak to the person that's closest to us, that's next to us with kindness and truth, that can have a large ripple effect. Yeah. Be responsible of the vineyard that God has given you.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, go ahead, Doctor.
I just would want one little point on that. We also need to engage with, and I see a lot of brothers, they really want to. They come from the same background as us. Athletes in NBA, NFL stars with these huge platforms. I won't say the MAGA guy is absolutely afraid of Taylor Swift. Her platform is huge. All she's got to do is say one word or wear a T-shirt, and then she can influence 1 million, 2 million, 3 million people.
Yeah.
Okay. Like we in the military, we have what's that saying? One shot, one kill.
Yeah.
What we do is we want to kill 2 birds with 1 stone and use these NBA stars, NFL stars, and baseball stars to actually for the cause that we're trying to, to promote.
Yeah.
And it does go back to a lot of what is your legacy going to be? What do you want people to say about you? And what did you fight about in your lifetime? I was really particularly proud of LeBron James. This is kind of off the subject a little bit. Years ago, there was a news reporter who commented on LeBron James because he made a political statement about the person he was choosing to vote for. And the newscaster said just to shut up and dribble.
I remember that.
Well, LeBron James went forward and created a company called Just Dribble. Shut Up and Dribble.
Shut Up and Dribble.
Thank you. Yeah. Shut Up and Dribble. And this guy is a billionaire and one of the most respected and lauded basketball players of all time. And yet he still kept his virtue, and he could have easily dismissed it and not got political, but he said, no, this is a fight I choose to battle. And I think we should do the same with our women. No, this is a fight I'm choosing to battle because you pick on her, you picking on me.
Yeah. And just time check. We're coming up on top of the hour. This is a great conversation. We're going to have to end up doing a part 2, but we want to get to the comments. So make sure y'all keep the comments coming. But Gregory, I know it's one part that you wanted to particularly talk about, and that's how does emotional intelligence fit into this conversation?
Oh, yeah. I'm glad you reminded me about that. I think we said it earlier. The best way to protect a woman. Well, here's what I tell men. Here's what I tell men. The best way to love your woman is to ask God, what does she need? The best way to love your woman is to ask God, what does she need, right? After that, the best way to love your woman is to ask her, what does she need? Because we sometimes make the mistake of thinking we know how to fill in those gaps. We think that we understand what her struggles are. And there may be some tension in her life, but she doesn't mind the tension. Maybe she likes the friction because it's making her stronger, and we don't have to put on a cape and come in and save her. What she's asking is support, not a savior. And so, how does emotional intelligence play into all this? It means assessing her needs by asking her first, asking God what her needs are, and then becoming the man that can help fulfill those needs. Because we aren't already made husbands. Just because we say I do doesn't mean that we already know all the answers. What that means is that here is my new ministry in life. Now, God, who do I need to be to flourish in this opportunity that you gave me, the privilege of being a husband? What do I need? What are the tools, the resources? Maybe I need to read more books. Maybe I need to join a men's ministry. Maybe we need marriage mentors. What do I need now to be the man that can be the best support, the best leader, best provider, protector, lover, friend that she's ever had? Because we're not that yet already. We need to grow into that. And also remember this, that protecting your woman, there is no finish line. There's no off day. Every day that you wake up is another opportunity to serve and to minister to her. And that could mean a hug, that could mean a laugh, that could mean bringing her coffee, whatever it is a no days off job that you have. So that's what I like to offer.
I might have to stay single, man. I don't know if I want. No, I'm just kidding. Dr. Marlon, you got anything to add to that?
I think that's wonderful. Just remember that, again, protecting that woman means that she is open to being protected in whatever the way you both define protection. Don't close yourself off to the protections thinking you can do everything on your own. And my mama told me I don't need a man. I don't need a man to do this. No, don't think of it as you can think of him as a man, but think of him as a partner. There's shared relationships. There's a shared relationship there. You make it work. Time, God and time can be on your side if you have the right mindset. So go play. Let's do this.
That's good. That's good. Appreciate that. So let's go through some more of these comments. Want to make sure we address these. So we're scrolling up. There was a few from Corey Sanders. Corey says, what if you are trying to be the best father, but the mother is negative? I also have 3 daughters and I'm scared to death what's being put in the heads by the other individual. All this sounds good, but it's harder than what it seems. It's a constant struggle daily. And you're right. You know, I don't want to downplay this and just think like we can just hit the light switch and we just automatically become the best fathers, protectors, sons, siblings, whatever. It's work. And then by the time you figure this thing out Monday, man, give it a day or two. And it totally changes and it blindsides you. So as much as you're trying to be proactive, you're constantly reacting to what's going on, you know, from the different, challenges that your mates and all that is going through. So I'll let either one of you kind of address what Corey just said. He said, what do you do when their head has been filled up with so much negative stuff?
I want to say if it gets to a certain point to where there are professionals out there like Gregory here, get help. Both of you sit down with a life coach, a counselor, a therapist. These things are available to you, and they specialize in these things to talk you through these problems and giving you tools that you can use to get through this. That negativity grows from something. If you can't figure out what it is, get some help to figure out what it is, and you guys work on it together.
Oh man, that's good. That's good. You're right. Sometimes it's fixers, man. We ain't doing it, but making it worse by trying to do something that we're specialized in. You know, the beautiful thing about most jobs, they offer free counseling and therapy sessions. So I love that advice you gave, Dr. Marlon. Gregory, what about you?
I would say to stay committed to the responsibility of being a father, no matter how tough it gets or how hard it gets. As your child ages, they will grow into the maturity and understand what parent was the toxic one and which one wasn't. But if you are committed and consistent in being a positive contributor to your child's life, you're going to sooner or later reap the rewards. That being a parent, even in the best of circumstances, even if you was with the child's mother, doesn't mean it's going to be easy. This just means this is just your fight. Your fight just looks differently than you want it to look. But everybody's in a fight. So don't give up the fight. Stay committed to the responsibility of being a good parent, and make sure you may not have all the quantity of time that you have, but make sure it's the best quality time that it can be.
And you know, another quick caveat before we go to the next question, you just made me think about this, Greg, is that sometimes we get in our cush life. Let's be honest. You know, I've been around and seen some other parts of the world, and this not me thumbing my nose at our challenges because they're real and they're relevant. But I think in the West here, especially in America, we don't think that we're supposed to suffer. And you know, one day a pastor hit me up. He was like, "Hey, you know, that's not going to make it easy to suffer, but at least it gives you the mindset like, hey, keep you from that woe is me mindset. Like, this is not supposed to happen to me. I go to work, I pay my taxes, I don't fight nobody. Why is anybody messing with me?" And like, I mean, it sounds good, but that's just not how life goes. We will suffer. And you know, you got some people that's born in poverty. Some people end up with sicknesses and illnesses that's due to no fault of their own. The world is just that. So again, not to thumb my nose at anything that anybody has going on, but just understanding that you will suffer. And I think for me, it just kind of ease the blow sometimes when it comes my way.
Right.
Yeah, very true.
That's good.
Yeah. Miss Chantrell Bruce, she says, we learn how to receive love from our father-daughter relationship. My father always told me and showed me he loved me. I'm not necessarily moved by a man saying he loves me. I had a friend whose father provided the world, but never told her he loved her. She is successful in every area in her life except love. Wow. She doesn't understand how to give it. She doesn't understand how to give it. She does not understand when, if it's given genuinely. That's sad. And man, just that last statement, it is sad state to be in, to not recognize just the basic foundation or fundamental of what it means to love. So I'll let either one of you respond to that too.
So I guess my question would be, I mean, and that's powerful. That's very powerful. He never told her he loved it, those words, or he never showed her he loved her, because those are two different things. Of course, you need to communicate, I love you. Those are very powerful words. We've heard it in every song. But showing somebody you love them, I guess from those statements, it was it not shown? Was it just the words they were looking for?
Yeah.
I'm not
I think what she's saying, like financially, you know, he provided, but being
sure.
there, you're right. I agree with you. It does need to be demonstrated. Don't just say it demonstrated. But I think what she's saying, like he provided for her financially, but some of the more emotional things that he wasn't there.
She didn't feel it. Okay, yeah, that's hard. Okay, okay, I understand. That's my time though. I'm gonna go ahead and let somebody else say it. But wow, that's sad. That is sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got another from Corey. Corey says, as a black man, I feel I'm always fighting an uphill battle. And I get it. You know,
Join the
and
battle.
yeah,
Join the
yeah,
battle, my friend. Yeah.
yeah. And again, not to thumb my nose in it and say like, hey man, tough up and get back in there, but tough up and get back in the fight and stay in there. But like Dr. Marlon said earlier, man, there are so many resources out there to help equip us to deal with things, you know, on the regular. So I think the shame is not that we're going through it. The shame is that we're not taking advantage of these resources and
Right.
figuring out like, hey,
that
if
part.
I want to be the best, like let me learn. I told us, or I'll tell the story later, but I'm gonna shut up and let somebody else come in.
No, you're right. Don't be. I'm a man. I don't need no therapist. I don't need a. They can really seriously help you. They most likely can really help you. Don't be because I'm from Texas too. From Texarkana, Texas. Love my city.
Yeah.
I rep my city. Texarkana.
Yeah.
but, but what I learned, I've been in some of the toughest environments, been to 2 wars, in actual combat, doing my thing. But there is, when I got done, I've talked to some of the best therapists in the world, and I cannot express how much it's helped me. Going in there, being all tough, U.S. Marine, yeah, that is nothing. That has nothing to do with nothing.
Yeah.
You're a human being, and there's help out there for you. You have to go seek it. You can take a horse to the water. I'll leave it at that.
You can't make them drink. That's it. So Tamika said, it seems the term, I'm sorry. Let's go to Chantrell. She says, I have noticed that no other race of men are as openly critical of their women. We talked about that. Our attitudes, our appearance, our parenting. We need you to not criticize us publicly. We need to see you and know that if no one else, you are my back just because. And you're right. We talked about that. I'm gonna let either one of y'all take that.
Yeah, I'll take that one if you don't mind. You know, we are fighting an uphill battle against generational dysfunction. You know, there was a study done years ago, maybe even a decade ago, about ancestors of the Holocaust, and what they were able to determine. There's actually a trauma gene that you can find and locate in the human body. And what they did was studying, they analyzed ancestors from people who survived the Holocaust and those who didn't. They found a unique gene that triggers trauma, and so that of course stays in the bloodline, and eventually it can work itself out with therapy and that type of thing. However, now if that is true for the Holocaust, imagine what it must be like for descendants of slavery. We are not just battling, you know, the latest trend or conversation on social media. No, we're fighting generational dysfunction from our grandparents, great grandparents, who were told that they were less than human beings. And so, what does a slave know about parenting? What does a slave know about marriage? They were fighting for survival. And when we look at the big picture, we are not that far off from slavery. I know people say, well, that was, you know, centuries ago. However, when you think about it generationally, we as Black people only have to go a few generations back before we hit that wall of, here are my descendants that were actually slaves. And that still resonates within us. Now, it should not be a crutch, but it should not be ignored at the same time. And so we first have to look inward in our family history within ourselves and say whether the habits and hangups that are preventing me from being prosperous in every area of my life, especially emotionally. And so until we highlight, okay, Black men, you were taught when you was a slave that your main responsibility was to work and to make babies. Those were the only two things Black men were told they were good for during that time, to work and to make babies. And that just kind of got perpetuated throughout generations. We're just now getting to a place where we're accepting there is a better way. We're just now getting to a place where we're accepting that therapy is not a taboo issue anymore. And so I hope as we grow as a people that those, you know, shackles fall off of our brains. But absolutely, I think there still is a lot of growth that needs to be had within our community about how we treat our Black women and how we look at our Black women. And I think Black men can do better. I think that we are on a trajectory of becoming better, but there's definitely is a lot of room for growth in that space.
Man, excellent stuff, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really good. Just remember, you 2/3 of a man, and that's what was written as far as what we were thought of from coming up. You know, every time you stepped up, you got put down. Remember Tulsa, Oklahoma. Remember all these things. You're not human, and that's generational. It's been hundreds of years, and you telling me now it's genetic? I need to see that study. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Learning.
yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
Wow.
there's a trauma cell out there that you can find within someone's DNA. And to Chantrell, know this from one Black man to a Black woman, I see you. And to know that you are valuable. If no other Black man tells you that, these 3 Black men here tonight want you to know that you are a queen and we appreciate you.
Everything about you. Yeah, for sure. We got a comment from Nikki. She said the statement, treat people how you want to be treated. I love how Dr. Marlon takes the approach of treat a person how the person wants to be treated by finding out the need. Awesome show, gentlemen. Yeah, you're right. This whole thing about grace and mercy and favor, I tell people sometimes it's like a tailor-made suit. You know, y'all had a tailor-made suit. You know, it's for you specifically. So, you know, in your relationships, your friendships, your partnerships, find out what that person needs specifically and let that guide and lead your relationship, how y'all deal with each other. And Mia said that emotional support is definitely key for us women. And I'll take that from a as a black man, I'm listening. And she said, and also important for a man, the emotional support. We don't have all the answers, so tapping into resources is not a sign of weakness, but of strength. Just amplifying what both of you said earlier. It's a shame if we're not out here tapping into these many resources. It's good to talk about them, and that's going to be an ongoing need. That talk therapy is real. But what a rubber meets the road, sometimes you got to get these resources. So guess what? If I haven't put in the work, talk to the experts, I'm going to the fight with my own limited knowledge and understanding. And I'm telling you from experience, it's got my butt whooped before. So tap into the resources.
Gerard, can you maybe, if you do another show or maybe on your on the other cat podcast, can you maybe pull up some resources for people, maybe, and the local resources or in the
Yeah.
different areas, so people can maybe tap in or call or some points of contact?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, man. We are actually starting to head into that arena where we're going to have more experts like yourself and Greg on and give people access to them. And some of the part of it is people don't know what to expect. I remember before I started going to my counseling and therapy session, I'm like, man, I don't want to sit on the couch and let her just drill me. And I realized when I went in, it's nothing like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I enjoy therapy. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a constant ongoing part of my life. I talked to my therapist. I told her, I was like, if I hit the lottery, I'm coming to therapy. Like, we talking this thing out. So that's why I want people to know, like,
Yeah.
take what you see on TV about sitting on the thing and her or him just drilling you about your troubled childhood. I mean, that's maybe a part of it, but it's way more than that. And
Exactly.
you'll
It's
be
a process. It's a process.
And you know why it's so good, Gerard, is because you weren't told that you deserved that or that you needed that just because you're a man.
Yeah.
You weren't told, hey, you need to take a pause, not quit, pause, take a time out and get back in the game. You were never told that before. And then when we discovered that as men, that it's okay to take a time out, refresh, and we discovered that we're so much better for it after it's done.
Yeah. We got a couple more here. Nikki says, true. He didn't say the first sentence. I thought about the statement when he mentioned finding out what the woman needs by asking. Yeah, you said ask God, then ask the woman. Yeah. So simple but great advice. And Chantrell says, thank you so much. And to you all, you're valued. I trust you. I support you. And that's good. And all our doing is sometimes we forget like what to be intentional about what we need and even ask. It almost seems silly to say like, hey, I need to feel like that I'm valued and appreciated for what I'm doing. But sometimes that's what you need to do.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
And Chantrell said, I love therapy. I'm getting my money's worth. I'm exhausted when I leave there. Yeah, it's a lot of work, man. They work you out. So this was a great conversation. We got one more commercial. And then after this next commercial, we're going to come back and we're going to wrap the show up.
Mogul TV Global Network is the #1 streaming TV network for positive programming. Built on the pillars of culture, diversity, and legacy, Mogul TV Global Network is the award-winning platform serving men, women, and families with purpose, positivity, and passion, while celebrating life by educating, inspiring, entertaining, and empowering viewers around the globe to live their lives on purpose. Visit www.themogulchannel.com.
All right, as we get ready to wrap up this show, just a reminder, this is a 3-day series. Day one, yesterday, we talked about infertility and miscarriages from a male's perspective. It was a powerful, powerful conversation. So y'all out there, if you didn't get to catch it yesterday, the replay is out there for you to catch it. Had two men on here, Phurious Stiles and Larnelle, who both they dealt with that. So they really shared their heartfelt stories, and they was open and transparent. And it's something that I have never been a part of, and I walked away as a better man dealing with it, personally myself as well. Day two is what we're doing here today. We had Dr. Marlon Ware and life coach Gregory McKinney, where we're talking about ways that we should protect our women, individual responsibility, and as a society, what are our shared responsibilities, and also how we can become better men and excel in those areas. Tomorrow is going to be one of my favorites. One of my favorites. We got a number of topics, but the one that's going to stand out the most is that 91-day rule. Y'all heard about Steve Harvey's 90-day rule? Well, that 91-day rule is talking about, hey, you went 90 days. Now what's going on day one? Do you just throw it all out there and just let it all hang out? Or are there still some expectations for you to, guide you through to make sure that you're, moving towards a successful relationship? So the 91-day rule is going to be a great, great discussion. Hope y'all come back here tomorrow at 7 o'clock so we can catch that one. But this is time where we ask these smart men for some parting thoughts. Give us some words of wisdom for us to take back and use in our lives. So who wants to go first?
Well, my parting thoughts are, first of all, thank you for the invite. I really had a lot of fun here today. Protect women, protect men, protect each other. Yeah. When a woman and man come together, they become one. We have children, and the cycle goes on and on and on. Remember Lion King and the circle of life? Okay, circle of life. So let's love each other. Let's respect each other. Let's grow together. And protection is part of the whole schematic. We need protection. All of us do. So glory to God.
Yes, sir. Appreciate that. Gregory?
I'm going to say that I think it's important for us to bridge this gap between men and women. It's important because there are so many gifts and talents in each of us that we have a void when we don't show up for each other. Men need women. Women need men. And that should not be an awkward thing to say. We need each other. And I like to tell people that I think that the best union is between a man and a woman, because when you have a man and a woman together, you see all the facets of God. He is present. You see the strength in the man, the leadership in the man. You see the gentleness and the kindness and the love from a woman. And when you have that relationship and it's strong and it's built on something more so than superficial things, you have the image of God present. And so I would encourage us to make those steps, do what we need to do so that we can bridge that gap, so that we can become more unified, because we do need each other.
Yeah. And I want to take this moment too. Also, Greg, you got a couple things you got going on outside of here. We all do, but I want you to take a moment and highlight what you got going on.
Thank you. I try to stay busy. So as a life coach, as I spoke about earlier, my particular niche is I like to help men understand and grow in their emotional intelligence so they can be aware and they can express and they can have a greater capacity to understand their own emotional needs and to communicate those needs to the people that are around them so they can be better leaders, husbands, sons and brothers and community leaders, and whatever goals they have, understanding themselves so they can be better to the people that are around them. And so if you're interested in some coaching, or if you know a man that may benefit from that coaching, you can find me at my website at www.gregorymckinney.net. I also have a book that I wrote, Emotional Intelligence for Men. And in there, I give insight about, okay, what is emotional intelligence? Why do I need it? And how can I grow it? And so if you think that that is something that you could benefit from, or know of a guy who can benefit from it, you can go to my website and you can find a link there for it as well. Or you can also go to Amazon and just type in my name, Gregory McKinney, and then my book will pop up. And then lastly, I also offer an 8-week course on emotional intelligence for men. And in that 8-week course, we're going to find out how to find the courage first to express and understand what your needs are. But then I'm going to give you the communication skills to express it. And then I'm going to give you the ability now to walk it out. And so if you're looking for the courage, the clarity, and then the ability to walk it out, I got the course for you. It's 8 weeks. I'm telling you, I beat you up, but in the best possible way. I'm the meanest best friend that you'll ever have, because my purpose in life is to help you grow in your purpose. So the better you become, the better I feel about myself. And I love feeling good about myself. So I want every man that I meet to be his highest and best self. So reach out to me on all social media platforms. Just type in my name, Gregory McKinney, and let's get to talking.
Yeah. And I want to also give Dr. Marlon an opportunity to state what he's doing outside of here, or do you want to be contacted? If so, what you got for the
Absolutely. Again, I started my own podcast. It's called An Urban Vibe with yours truly, Dr. Marlon Ware. Basically, we have a conversation about the building of community through education and opportunity. We talk about a myriad of things that we actually build a community. Like our last podcast was like, should the church be taxed? I mean, that's a question. And it was hot. It was pretty hot. Got a lot. Oh yeah. So, if you want to contact me, you can please. You can reach out to me, Marlon.ware, Marlon@marlonware.com. Just shoot me an email. Let's talk and commune, and let's do that. So thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
And so, how can we find your podcast?
You can find my podcast. I have it on the Dr. Marlon Ware Facebook page. The website again. I will never try to build another website myself. I'm going to go hire somebody. I'm not doing that. That's not my.
I got somebody for you.
Yeah, please send them to me because I'm really bad at it. So for now, just on the Facebook page. It's on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. You can just look it up in Urban Vibe with Dr. Marlon Ware, and it should pop up.
So, do you have your next topic picked out yet?
I have I'm still selecting that. It's going to be hot though. Definitely going to be hot.
Put us in the note, man. We want to do what we can to help you promote both.
Thank you.
Promote what you got going on. We need more. But I got a non-scientific formula or number. I say that less than 3% of the world is doing the type of work that we're doing.
Wow.
And that's doctors, counselors, people in the homeless shelter. You got 8 billion people. So how can less than 3% do so much of the work? Because love is so powerful.
That's right.
Love is so powerful. You touch one person and you literally change generations. I'm telling folks all day long, man, like y'all, man, thank you. Thank you. I know sometimes you wonder, like, is it doing any good or how much good is it doing it? But we just be encouraged and please stand and fight. I appreciate you both.
Right on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So anything else before either one of you, before we call it quits?
Thank you, brother.
Great conversation. I enjoyed myself. Thank you for having me.
All right. So to the audience out there, thank y'all for coming. Thank you for sticking with us throughout the duration. Again, this information is only good if it's reaching people. So we need you to share, like right now. Don't say you're going to do it later. Do it now. Share the show. Let somebody that could be helped or encouraged by this. Let them know about it. And continue to comment. And I promise you, we'll go in the comments and respond and get back with you when we get the time. So this was fun. I'm looking forward to doing tomorrow, the 91-day rule. Hope y'all can come back here and check this out at 7:00 right here on the Floor Is Yours podcast. Thank you, Tamika, for running the show behind the scenes. We couldn't have done it without you. Again, thank you, audience, and thank you, gentlemen, for being a part of this Real Men Talk.